And a good Saturday morning, too. Welcome once again to Health Matters with Dr. Jim Warner of Warner Chiropractic in Rockford, Illinois, and a special guest who works with Dr. Jim at his office, Kim Osborne, today. And today we're going to give you the acid test. That is ascorbic acid, right?
Absolutely. Yes, Dr. Osborne, for listeners that have maybe listened in previous shows that we've had, she's working in our office as a chiropractic intern, and she's going to be with us for several months, and so she's going to join us today as we talk about vitamin C.
And that's ascorbic acid.
That's ascorbic acid. Now, vitamin C, Fred, is something that, they started learning about that in the 17 and 1800s when the British would be sailors, of course, and they went around the world and they'd end up with scurvy, sickness, and disease. They would die from it, and they found that if they included some citrus, if they included limes in their diet, and they would take these limes on these ships, that would avoid ascorbic acid deficiency or vitamin C, and that's how they got the name limeys, is because they took limes with them on the trips overseas, and it stopped scurvy.
Well, blimey, I didn't know that.
Blimey the limey.
I knew about vitamin C being good for you, but I've been taking it for years.
Yes, well, a lot of people don't get enough vitamin C, Fred, and a lot of people think, well, I take orange juice every day, or I try to do something like that every day, or try to have some fresh fruits, but that's not enough. Now, if someone were to take a ripe orange, let's say they just picked one straight from the plant, and it was ripe, it was good, and they didn't have to ship it anywhere. They didn't have to change the temperatures in the shipping and such, and they ate a fresh orange, they would get maybe 50, maybe 60 milligrams of vitamin C, which would be just the bare minimum that your body needs. But by the time they ship that orange, and by the time it gets to the grocery store, it's been refrigerated, sunlight's hit it, air has hit it, there's not the vitamin C in there that it needs, and most people need a lot more vitamin C than that minimum 50 or 60.
Wasn't there a famous Nobel physician who was real high on vitamin C?
Linus Pauling.
Pauling, right.
Yes, he did a lot of the, he was a PhD, he did a lot of the research into vitamin C, and he found that we need lots of vitamin C, and he took mega doses for a long period of his life until he lived in his 90s, and he always took several times the normal amount that we would recommend, but he took that, and he felt that was very beneficial.
Well, if the orange juice and the orange isn't enough, I'm sure they're good for you, but what do you recommend then?
Well, when you're starting out, just as a baseline recommendation, you would start out with about 500 milligrams a day, and that would be just the average person that's healthy. We're not dealing with a cold or an infection, because you want to increase those levels when the body's trying to fight off sickness.
So in what form do you recommend?
Well, usually it's good in a tablet form or even in a powder form. And so the reason why you need more than the minimum amount, Fred, is because everybody has certain needs, and I don't know if I need more vitamin C than you do. Nobody knows. So you need to take a little bit extra, and there should be some in your urine, which means that your body is getting rid of the excess amount. So it doesn't store in the body. So if you take extra vitamin C, it leaves through your urine, and so you don't get too much. You can't overdose on it.
Now, there's some vitamins where you can, but
Yes.
Not with vitamin C.
Not with vitamin C. And so you can't overdose on it. And when we're facing different pollutants in our life, whether it's air pollution or water pollution, we need more vitamin C. Sickness or disease, we need more. The stresses that we all go through, the mental stress and the physical stress, all increases the body's need for vitamin C, and that's why we recommend a minimum of 500 milligrams.
Now, vitamin C is a known antioxidant, isn't it?
Absolutely, and an antioxidant, the best way to picture that is like a little Pac-Man that goes around the body just eating up all those free radicals that damage the tissues.
And what are some of the health benefits? We mentioned warding off diseases, but what types of practical things will, in your body are help with vitamin C?
Well, vitamin C can help you with bruising. If you seem to be getting a lot of bruisings, that's usually a good sign that you are deficient in vitamin C. It will also help you if you have any kind of a cold or infection. That's when you really need to boost up your vitamin C, because that's what's going to help your immune system to actually fight that cold. And if you have any kind of a drug addiction, cigarette smoking, these things completely deplete your body of vitamin C, so you really need to counteract those things.
And caffeine also is one of those culprits that takes some of the vitamin C.
Yes, it does. And then when you urinate more, you lose more vitamin C with that. Another benefit of this, Fred, is that because it's an antioxidant, it's an anti-aging element, and it's an anti-cancer element. So if you want to live longer and you want to lessen your chances of getting cancer, then you should take extra vitamin C. And if you have cancer, you should take the mega doses of vitamin C. And some of the, like the Cancer Treatment Centers of America, that combine medical treatment with chiropractic treatment and nutrition for treating cancer, they put all their patients on mega doses of vitamin C and find that they have a much better chance of beating cancer when they're taking the vitamin C.
You know, that's one of the few examples you see of modern medicine today, including that type of regimen, where you would add the vitamins as a way to fight the disease.
Well, if I had cancer, Fred, I would want to use all methods that could be helpful. I wouldn't want to just try one and skip 4 or 5 other things that they've also found help. I'd want to shotgun that approach. And so I think they do a wonderful job. Another thing, Fred, that people don't realize, vitamin C helps lower your chances of getting heart disease and also strokes. Now, the reason why it does that, Fred, is that they found that people that take vitamin C, the cholesterol does not stick to your blood vessels as much. So you might have high cholesterol and you take enough vitamin C and it doesn't collect on your blood vessels. The cholesterol that collects on your blood vessels is the only harmful cholesterol that's going to affect your body, because if it doesn't stick, it doesn't hurt your body. And that's why some animals have cholesterol maybe 2 or 3 times that of humans, and they don't have heart disease because animals manufacture their own vitamin C in their body. They make it out of sugar, whereas humans don't. And that's why humans need to take more vitamin C and can get scurvy where animals don't.
So it kind of makes your capillaries and blood vessels a little bit slippery.
It does, and it makes you healthier.
Well, I know that personally, I've been taking 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C, I think, daily for about, I'm guessing, 30 years.
And that's why you look like you're only 25.
Well, thank you. Remind me to pay you after the program.
Looking at a study done at the University of Colorado, they took over 10 years, 11,000 Americans, and what they did was increase the vitamin C intake of 300 milligrams a day, and they found that it increased their life expectancy by 6 years.
It also decreased heart disease 50% in men and 40% in women. So just adding a little vitamin C can make a big effect on your body. Another thing to think about, Fred, is vitamin C is just kind of one component. Your body also has a need for what's called bioflavonoids. Those are the other chemicals that are found naturally with vitamin C, and your body utilizes both. And so the vitamin C in itself can have these good effects, but it works even better with the bioflavonoids, or the rose hips that sometimes you find with it, citrus elements. Strawberries have it. Your orange juice, the little pieces of citrus that's in there has bioflavonoids with that. So if you drank a glass of orange juice with a vitamin C tablet, that would be very, very beneficial. And remember, cooking destroys vitamin C, so you might have a good vegetable diet, but you cook the vegetables, you're not going to get as much vitamin C out of it.
I've noticed on the drugstore counters in the vitamin department, you see those different formulations with the bioflavonoids, the rose hips, as you mentioned.
Yes.
And that's not necessarily for better absorption, but it's just because it works together with the vitamin C?
It's better utilization, and so it costs a little bit more, but it's better. And some authorities would actually say that it's the bioflavonoids that are the most important thing, more important than the vitamin C itself, and that you want to make sure you get a lot of the bioflavonoids, and then you can use not as much vitamin C.
We've seen pictures of the human body trying to digest vitamin pills, and they'll show these pills sitting in the bottom of your intestines, really undissolved. But that is not so much a problem with vitamin C, is it?
Well, with these other pills that you're talking about, Fred, they usually put a capsule around it with varnish, and your body doesn't break the varnish down very well. And so if you got a nice shiny pill that looks nice or is really pretty, it's a nice red pill or it's a blue pill, it's probably going to come out and you're not going to absorb as much. But with vitamin C, it being water soluble, they usually don't put a shellac around it, and so it breaks up very easily. And as soon as it hits your stomach, it usually breaks up.
I know that with other types of vitamins, that has been a real concern, and not being as soluble as vitamin C. So there's no unnatural vitamin. Like, for instance, if you have vitamin E, there's a man-made or synthetic form, but that's not the case with vitamin C.
Vitamin C is made through a fermentation process, and so you can say it's kind of natural in that aspect, but it always works better when you put things that are normally found with vitamin C, the bioflavonoids, the rose hips, those sort of things, hesperidin complex. When those things are added with the vitamin C, then it'll work better for you.
So what is your recommendation as to the amount that a person should take as far as maintenance goes?
Maintenance, again, you'd want to do 500 milligrams a day, and then if somebody's fighting off an infection, they'd want to increase that. And usually it depends on the person and the sickness, but usually want to start that out about 1,000 milligrams every couple hours, and you go up to what we would say would be bowel tolerance, and then back off from that and continue that.
So that's kind of an antibiotic effect, isn't it?
It has an antibiotic effect. It also, when you take it like for bladder infections, it works very well for bladder infections. It changes the pH in your bladder, so it becomes more acid. When you urinate, it's more acid urine that's going through, which kills the bacteria better than an antibiotic does. So people with bladder infections should take extra vitamin C. And like Dr. Osborne said, maybe 1,000 milligrams, sometimes 2,000 milligrams an hour would work very well to knock out bladder infections. And as she said, you could have loose stools. If you start getting diarrhea, then that's a sign to back off a little bit, and that's just because there's just too much vitamin C and it's causing diarrhea. It won't harm you, but that's usually tells you when you should start backing off.
Well, I know from experience it's really inexpensive, and it's a good form of health insurance, better than taking drugs. Here you have something that's natural, that's good for your system.
And you'll live 6 years longer and much better.
All right, I know you have more information for people.
They can contact us on the web, www.warnerchiro.com, or they can call us at area code 815-398-8111.
That's Warner Chiropractic, located at 4155 East State Street in Rockford in the Manhattan Plaza. Thanks for the information.
Thank you, and have a great day.
Thank you.
And that's going to do it for Health Matters today.